artist humans, welcome to Art with Amita. That's me. Today we're going to be doing an acrylic painting color wheel. I love acrylic paint. It's one of my favorite mediums. It's kind of like watercolor. You can get these beautiful little thin washes, but you can also build up the paint in a thick way like you can with oil painting. So it's a really wonderful start to painting. So I will also be going over which colors to buy to get the most vibrant color. So, you know, we grow up kind of learning red, yellow, and blue are the primaries, and then we mix the secondary colors. But I'm going to tell you exactly the names of the colors to buy so that you'll get the most vibrant color possible on your color wheel and in painting in general. Before I forget, my daughter wanted me to point out the necklace she made me, which is color wheel necklace. See? So that's my girl Yazzie. She wanted to make sure I put it in the video. So yay, Yazzie! So I hope you enjoy this video and that you enjoy acrylic painting because I love it. It makes me so happy. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Yay! So we're going to be doing an acrylic painting color wheel today. I've bought specific colors that guarantee a vibrant color wheel using acrylic paint. This color will be kind of a mix of the traditional red, yellow, and blue color wheel and the cyan, magenta, yellow color wheel, which is also known as the printer's color wheel. Just found that these very specific colors result in very vibrant colors. So the first color just looks like blue, but it's actually called Phthalo Blue, and it has a little bit of an aqua tint to it. Really good for mixing aquas and blue greens. Second color is ultramarine blue. That's a little bit of a violet blue, really nice for purples. Then this is what we call magenta, and the base of this magenta is quinacridone. So anytime you see a tube of paint that says magenta, you can sometimes flip to the back and find the source color, and usually it's quinacridone. And then I have a cadmium red hue. The word hue is really important. True cadmium is actually quite toxic. So cadmium red hue actually has a base of, I believe, naphthol. So naphthol is the nice base color. So it's good to know your actual colors when purchasing paint, and you're not just going with a watercolor set or something that's already got the colors out there for you. And then the yellow I got is a cadmium yellow light hue. Again, use that word hue. It's very helpful to keep you safe. And the base color is aerolide yellow, so it's truly an aerolide yellow, which is a nice plain lemon yellow. So I just wanted to introduce the colors first and just get you to know like what you're buying when you're picking out your colors. So this is the traditional color wheel format. I'm going to be playing a little bit with mixing these two to get a true red. So just bear with me as we do that. Your basic supplies are, I like a flat paintbrush because you can mix easily with it and not worry about streaking with a pointy paintbrush. Some sort of palette. This is a nice one because it has individual wells for color, but you don't have to have one. You can use a paper plate or plastic plate or regular plate. Container of water. Acrylic is a water-based medium, so you always want to have water handy. And I like to have a piece of blank paper handy to practice and mix colors off to the side sometimes, just to see what it'll look like on paper. So we're going to get started. These three colors in the center are called the primary colors. That's why it's a triangle. And those are the basic red, yellow, and blue that we're used to hearing about. I'm going to try the cadmium red as my red. And when you're putting color down, I only use a tiny bit. You do not need to put a big old blob. This does dry quickly. So you want to not use too much. So I always get my brush a little bit wet first and squeeze it out. Just makes the brush able to hold the paint better. So I'm going to start with that red color, which technically is a red-orange, but for our purposes, we're just going to call this red. I'm going to fill in. And if your paint gets a little dry, you can get a little more water. Fill in that first triangle on top. I'm kind of curious, since this looks like a red-orange, what would happen if I added a little magenta to it. I'll just put some over here and see if it turns into a true red. This is a little experimental, trying to get true color rather than memorized color. Whoop. Always rinse my brush when going between colors. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of my magenta and see if that makes a more pure red. Yep, and that's more of the red we think of as red, more pure. So a teeny bit of cadmium red and a little bit of quinacridone will actually make a pure red. Rinse my brush. Its primary color is yellow. I do it in this order. I go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, because of Roy G. Biv, that little acronym in school that some of you may have learned, that it's basically a way to remember the colors in the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Rinse my brush out really well. Get some pure yellow. I'm going to try not to touch that little edge there. And I'm going to line it up right here. Okay, and you might have guessed this little area here is for secondary colors. So primary means one, they're the original colors. Even though I technically mixed it, we're playing with color theory a little bit here. So I'm going to mix an orange there. And I'm actually going to take my cadmium red. Grab a little bit of yellow. Nice. And orange. Oh, not quite. And just find the corresponding spot across from it. And then this will be a red-orange. So technically the cadmium red is already a red-orange, but I'll just mix it in a little bit with my other color just to get a little bit yellower. There's a nice red-orange. And then this is going to be a yellow orange. So basically whatever the primary is the first word, and then the secondary color is the second word. So this is a red orange and a yellow orange here. I'm going to take mostly yellow and grab a teeny bit of that orange that I already made up. And then our third primary is blue. So we have these two different blues here. We have a phthalo blue, a phthalo cyanine blue, and an ultramarine blue. The ultramarine is better for the violet colors, and the phthalo is better for mixing greens. You can get nice greens with ultramarine blue too. They'll just be a little bit muddier. They won't be quite as pure. So you can see that my water is very muddy. And because I'm going to be moving around the color wheel now, I've already got two primaries mixed. Once you add a third primary into the mix, you're going to start getting some muddy colors. So I'm going to dump this out and change up my water. My water is magically clean, and while I was changing the water, I also got a towel, which is really nice for wiping your brush on sometimes. So I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to be working towards the green side. And you can see I got my yellow a little dirty here, so I'm just going to do a separate little blob of yellow so that it's a pure one for mixing my blues. And I'm trying to figure out how to solve our little issue here with the pure blue. So I think what I'm going to do is have half of this triangle phthalo blue and half of the triangle ultramarine blue, just so we can have some pure color mixing. So really check your label. And so I'm going to grab a little bit of phthalo and put it on the side where the greens are going to go. Split my blue. So we're not really concerned with a perfect color wheel like in elementary school or in watercolor painting. This is more, look at that beautiful color. Yeah, that's more of the cyan in the original, in the printer's color wheel. So you can see how that's going to mix really nicely with yellow. So I'm going to grab half my phthalo and half my yellow to make green. Very much. Phthalo is a very strong pigment. So we have a nice pure green right there. Secondary color, half blue, half yellow. And we're going with phthalo blue because that's the more aqua blue. Lovely green. Lovely. Shamrock green. Okay, so we've got a nice green, and we're now going to mix the secondary and a primary. So this will be a yellow green here. Add one more yellow. Nice vibrant green. Lovely. And right here will be a blue green. So blue plus the secondary is a blue green. I'm going to do mostly blue. Tiny bit of yellow. These are like super pretty aqua colors. Maybe a little more yellow. Oh, look at the water. So pretty. Pretty much that color is what you're going for. That's what I'm talking about. Blue green. Alright. Now I was going to time lapse a lot of this, but I realized I need to explain the color choices that we're making, how we're splitting the blue and everything. So this next section is going to be all violets, different shades of violet. So I'm going to dump my water one more time because this does have a little bit of yellow in it, and violet's going to have blue and red, and you add yellow, and all three colors will be together and we'll get mud. So now I'm going to go for my ultramarine blue, which is more of a violet blue, and I still have some of my magenta here. You're going to use that later when you get into the red violets. We're not going to use the cadmium because that has a little bit of yellow in it. It's a little bit of a red orange actually. So we're going to be working just with the magenta and ultramarine blue to get some really beautiful purples. Violets rather. Okay, so let's bring up my brush, grab a little bit of ultramarine blue, and you can see it's definitely a little more inky blue. The ballpoint pen blue, it technically is a little bit violet, of a blue violet actually. So put that in there. And this is where it gets weird because you would think, oh, this is going to be red and blue there. But I'm actually going to slowly build up this way until I get the right mix. So what I want right now is a blue violet. So I grabbed a little bit of my magenta and a lot of blue. I mix right on my palette. I'm being very nice to my brush. I'm always keeping it flat. I'm not smashing it. purple. Actually, that looks like pretty violet, so I'm just going to throw some more ultramarine blue in there. There we go. And then for the violet, we'll go back to where we had a little bit of magenta in there. If I mix the red in, like I said, it would just be a little bit muddier. It wouldn't be as pretty. It's a real color. What you think of this purple goes right here. And technically it's violet. I'm going to split this last one into magenta and then magenta violet, which is, magenta technically is a red violet already, just straight out of the tube. But I want you to have some experience mixing this. So we're going to put red violet right here, which is technically magenta. Look how bright and gorgeous. I love it. And then we're going to mix a red violet where you have to actually mix it. So just magenta with a teeny bit of violet in there. Beautiful color. Way more vibrant than if we tried to mix the red and the blue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that off to the side so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna take pure red, which isn't really red, we know it's a red-orange, it's cadmium. And a little bit of ultramarine blue, and mix the purple. Ew. Do you see that, ew? That's what happens. So that's why it's important to know the names of your colors and what they actually look like. So now you know how to make a more vibrant purple. Isn't the water gorgeous? Okay, and for the next color mixing video, we will learn what happens when you mix colors that are opposite on the color wheel. That's how you can make some really beautiful earth tones. And if you start with these colors, even your earth tones will have a little more glow to them. So I hope you enjoyed working on a color wheel with acrylic paints, a little more advanced than a regular color wheel because we are working with actual names of colors, of the actual pigment, rather than just the colors we were told in kindergarten that exist. So just to refresh your memory, cadmium red is actually a red-orange, and you always want to get red hue. To make a pure red, you'll actually mix magenta and cadmium red, or quinacridone and cadmium red is the true red that you think of. And if you were printing, that's how they would make red. It would be magenta with a teeny bit of yellow in it. And then your cadmium red is great for red oranges. Your yellow tracks around, and then the blue-green side has the phthalo blue, PTH phthalo blue. And the violet side uses ultramarine blue and quinacridone magenta. So happy painting! And if you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, do all those happy little things for happy YouTubers. And enjoy being an artist human.
Excuse me, I think you're forgetting something.
Oh my gosh, Rainbow Dash is totally right. We forgot to clean up! So if you want your materials to last a long time, you'll clean up quickly. Acrylic paint does dry to a hard plastic, so this will be harder to clean off later if you don't wash up right away. So you want to take this to a sink, scrub it out, all of this will wash down the drain. If you're absolutely positive your color is super pure, there's no contamination, you can put it back in the tubes. But especially with those blues that are really similar, it's better to just save your color in this palette than put it back. So if you really want to save your color, if you have this kind of palette, you can put on a lid. If you only have a plate or something like that you're using, just stretch some saran wrap across it. Some artists will put a little piece of wet paper towel in there too to help keep the moisture happening. And then Also, always rinse out your brush and get all of the color off your brush, or it can dry to a hard, stiff plastic on your bristles and ruin the brush. You can get it off with really, really hot water. Just takes a little work. But if you can just clean up now, it saves you trouble later. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and more complicated color mixing coming soon. Have a beautiful day.